In this video, we're going to show you how to make your inline SVG images accessible. Let's dive in. Okay, so I've been updating this website using a lot of SVG images, and what I'm doing is I'm actually taking the SVG code, I'm putting it into an embed element, and then I'm actually tinkering with some of that SVG code. It allows me to have dynamic colors based on the typography that I set, the typography color that I set on that embed element. I've got another video on that, so if you want to have dynamic colors in your images, go check that out. However, as I was building this, I thought I want these images, these icons, to be accessible so that people who can't view the site can at least interpret what's going on through their screen reader. So if we scroll down here, we can see here are some of the icons that are SVG images. So if we open this up, we can see that we've just got the different SVG code. So in order to make this SVG code accessible, we need to do a few things, and let's look at that now. Okay, so I'm in my SVG code. I'm going to expand this so that we can make it bigger for you to hopefully see. One smaller. Okay, all of the paths, you can, for the sake of accessibility, you can ignore those. You need those for your image. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a title tag to our SVG code. It's got to be the first thing that's right inside the SVG tag. So we're going to add a title tag, and that title tag is effectively going to hold our alt tag, our alt text for our image. So we're creating this title tag, and then we've got our alt text. Now, the key here is we have to give this title an ID, a unique ID for this image. And the reason is SVG, from what I can understand, SVG images aren't totally accessible, so we've got to layer on a few bits. First bit is the title with an ID. If you have a complex image that has a lot going on, maybe it's an SVG animation that's really conveying something, you would add another tag here that is a description tag. And similar to the title, you would also have an ID for that description. So you would put a description, and then you could have a little more text, a little longer description of what's going on. Since mine are a simple icon, I haven't included that here. So you include the title with an ID, and then up above, what you need to do is add a couple things to your SVG tag. First thing is this role equals IMG, role equals image. So we're effectively telling the browser, telling our screen readers that this is an image. And then what we're doing is we're putting this ARIA tag on it. And we're saying this is labeled by the ID of our title tag. So this ID for the ARIA labeled by is the exact same ID as what we have for our title tag. If you had that description, so let's just say I was to have the description here. If you had the description and you had and we called it maybe description clients, that was my unique ID there, I would copy that and I would put that right up into my ARIA label. I would add both of them there. Since I'm not using a description, I don't need that. But this is how we make our SVG images accessible. I've added an ARIA labeled by equals an ID, role equals image, and then I've added my title. The one thing to know with this approach is that when you create this title tag, if I preview my site, you'll see that when I hover over my image, I'm going to get a tooltip that's going to show up. And that tooltip is my title tag. I don't really like that. I would prefer that didn't come up. I'm sure I could write some code or do something so that doesn't come up. I prevent that from happening. I'm not really anticipating people really hovering over these icons, so I'm not too worried about it. But that is something to note, that you will by default be creating this hover tag, this tooltip that shows up when you are hovering over this image. So that's pretty much it. That is how you make your SVG icons accessible. If we go right down the line here, you'll see that I've done that on each of these SVG images. I've got my ARIA labeled by, my ID, role equals IMG, role equals image, and then my title. So I've added that to every one of my SVG images. And now screen readers will recognize that this is an image, and it will convey that to a user who is using a screen reader. Hopefully you found this tutorial helpful and you have a better idea of how to make your inline SVG images accessible. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and head over to our website where we have more tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you with your next no-code build. Thank you again for watching, and we will see you at the next tutorial.